Alright y'all, so today I'm going to try to make a bread starter from some whey that we had left over from our goat milk yogurt that we made. So the recipe calls for a cup of all-purpose flour, a cup of your whey, and a pinch of dry active yeast. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, mix that all together, and there's a method that you can use to stick it in the refrigerator for about 2 days before you use it, and that's what I'm going to do. So, alright, got my 1 cup measuring cup. This is King Arthur brand all-purpose flour, and I'm just spooning and measuring into my cup here. And once I got a cup, spooned and leveled, just want your flour a little bit fluffy. Level it off, and it's set in a large bowl. I have a large bowl here. Alright, cup of flour, and it says that you can use different types of whey. Now there's sweet whey, there's sour whey, and there was one more that the article read, I can't remember what it was. But I'm going to be using sour whey is a culture such as something that's in yogurt, the whey off of yogurt or sour cream. That's a sour one, and it's where it's been cultured for over 12 hours. Or fermented for over 12 hours. And a sweet whey is a whey that has only been fermented for, I think it's 12 hours or less. So I'm going to be using a sour whey, and the article I read said if you're using a sour whey it's going to be possibly overly sour. So I'm just going to add half a cup of water, and filtered water, and then half a cup of my whey. This is just a trial run. We'll see how it goes. I'll show you the progress of everything, how my bread turns out, and the process that I did to make my bread. So here I have a half a cup of water, and so I'm going to go ahead and pour that into my bowl with my 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and here I have my whey. So I'm just going to take my whey and measure out half a cup of that. And this is a very active, very stringy whey. And I've wondered too why, like I've made homemade yogurt. That's not what we're making this video. I'm just saying I've made homemade yogurt and it's been sort of stringy. And that's just because your culture in your yogurt or whatever it is very active. And sometimes it can be overactive, and that's what can give you stringy culture or whey. So it said, so we got a cup of flour in here, a half cup of water, and a half cup of our whey. And it said to take a pinch. So this is a brand new thing of yeast. Active dry yeast, just not opening it. I love to smell yeast. It smells so good. Alright, and it said a pinch of yeast. So I'm just taking a pinch and sprinkling it in there. So two little old bitty pinches of yeast. And I'm just taking that and mixing that together in my bowl. I'll turn you around just a second and show you what that looks like. Alright, this is what our mixture looks like. Kind of looks like something like pancake batter. That's what I'd say it looks like. It's just pancake batter. So there's our whey. And I'm actually going to take the rest of this whey and I'm going to freeze it. The article I read did say that you can, she froze the sweet whey. I'm going to try freezing the sour whey, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright y'all, I'm just going to cover this up with some plastic wrap and stick it in the refrigerator. And actually it's late tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this up, stick it in the refrigerator, and I'll bake my bread with it tomorrow. Alright, our mixture has been sitting in the refrigerator overnight. Our flour whey mixture, and that's actually called poolish. I didn't know that. It's a weird name, but it's called poolish. And it says you can leave it up to 2 days in the refrigerator, and I just left mine overnight, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish with that recipe. So first thing I'm going to do is I have a recipe hanging right here. so I can look at it and look here at the same time. So it says, mix water, sugar, and yeast in large bowl and leave to bloom for 5 minutes. So I have 1/4 of a cup of water here. I'm gonna pour it in my bowl. So 1/4 of a cup of water. 2 teaspoons of sugar. So here's my teaspoon. My sugar container's right here. So 1, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and then a teaspoon of dry yeast. So again, same yeast. Just gonna do a teaspoon of that. Level it off. It said we're gonna let this bloom for 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna whisk it up. Okay. And let that bloom for 5 minutes, and I'll see you back in 5 minutes. Alright, it's been 5 minutes and our yeast has bloomed, and our recipe says to stir in the poolish, which is the whey and flour mixture. And this is what I have here in this bowl. I'm just going to stir it in. And once we get this poured in here, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of wheat flour and then a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. And that'll be the same, of course, King Arthur brand, same as we use to make our poolish. So here's 1/2 cup of the all-purpose flour, and then here is a 1/2 cup of the wheat flour, and it's King Arthur too. So take my whisk and mix that in. See what the recipe says. And this is pretty thick. It's pretty thick. So I'm gonna switch back to my spatula once this is mixed in. Because after this is all mixed up, we gotta add another 1/2 cup of our all-purpose flour. So hit that. Make that come off best I can. Alright. We'll add one more 1/2 cup of our all-purpose flour. We'll add it right here. Just gonna spoon and level it. We're going to stir in this, and we're going to stir in our salt. It's 1 teaspoon of salt. So here's our salt. About a teaspoon like that. I'm just going to take our same spatula and stir that in. This is going to be pretty thick. And this dough is like a, I guess, and this is my first time making it. It's going to be like a sourdough. The taste, as far as the taste, that's because of the whey that's in it. And I'm going to get this all mixed up and then show you what that looks like after that. Alright, we're all mixed up. And that's what it looks like. I'm just going to take this little scraper here. I mean, yeah, you can probably just use your finger, but I'm just going to use this thing right here. And now, once that's done and mixed, I'm just going to give it one more turn. It shouldn't stick to it that bad now that it's all mixed up. Kind of get it in like the center of my bowl. Like that right there. Like that. And then it says to cover the bowl and you're going to let it rise for 2 or 3 hours. And this is a no knead recipe, but it did say, the article I read did say, we're going to take it and several times throughout the rise, you're going to take it and do like the stretch method that you use for sourdough, which is basically where you take it and you're pulling up your dough, folding it over on itself, turning it 90 degrees, taking it and doing that again, stretching it up, folding it over. And you're going to do that 2 or 3 times throughout the rise of this dough. So I'm just going to get a kitchen towel and cover this up. It's okay, let's see. Leave dough in bowl covered with a damp cloth. Okay, so we're going to switch that idea. I'm going to go get a couple wet paper towels, and that's what I'm going to cover mine with. Alright, I just went under the sink and I wet some paper towels, and I already got one on one side of the bowl. And I kind of just, when I laid it over there, I just kind of squished it on the sides like that to keep it on there. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And just squeeze it to kind of hold it on there. And that's it. And I ain't putting this in the refrigerator. I'm just going to let it sit out on the counter for 2 to 3 hours, and then we'll see what it looks like after that. Quick thing, I will show you how I fold and then turn it and everything throughout the rise. So I'm going to come back and show you how to do that, and then after that we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is my bowl right here. Since it's kind of chilly in our kitchen, since it's been chilly outside, it's cooler in this kitchen. So I just took my oven and I turned it on 400, and my oven's warm, and I'm just going to set my bowl towards the back. Since we have a gas stove, the heat rises on the back, and I'm just going to let this sit here. Well, actually I'm going to turn the oven off and just let it sit on the warm stove. So this is an option for you. If you think it's fine to set it on the counter, you set it on the counter, but for me, I'm turning the oven on for just a few minutes, turn it off, and let it sit on top of this warm stove. Alright, here's our dough after almost 2 hours. So it has spread out just a little bit, and like I said, that's what it looks like. And we're going to do a stretch and fold. I have a little bowl of water right here, and all I'm going to do is going to wet my hands. And I'm going to take and stretch and fold. So basically where I take it, like you do sourdough, stretch it, fold it over itself, give the quarter turn, same thing. And since it's been, we're going to do all 4 sides. And since it's been 2 hours, you're supposed to do like the stretch and folds in 30-minute intervals. And I was out in the garden, and 2 hours just flew by. So all I'm going to do is let this rise for like 1 more hour, and then I'm going to bake it after that. So after we do our stretch and fold, hold on. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So give me a second, I'll turn you around and show you better what it looks like. So let me pause you and turn you around. Alright, this is what it looks like. I did my 4 stretch and folds. So I stretched it up, folded it over this way, turned my bowl quarter turn, pulled it, stretched it up, folded it over, and so forth. So this is fixing to get, and instead of using the actual wet paper towel, I'm actually going to go ahead and take just a wet paper towel. I cannot talk today, y'all. A wet towel from the kitchen and cover it up, and I'm actually going to set it on the back of our stove. The stove has been on, and this just helps the rise process. This is optional. Like I said, our kitchen is a bit on the cool side, so this will help. So cover it on up, and I'll show you what it's like after 1 hour. Alright, y'all, it has been 1 more hour since our bread has been rising after we folded it. So here's our bread right here, and it has risen quite a lot. You can actually see how much spread on out. And what I've already done is the oven's preheated to 450, and I put my Dutch oven in there when I preheated it, so my Dutch oven was heating up as my oven heated up. And now that my oven's heated up, I'm going to go get my hot Dutch oven out of the oven and put my bread over my Dutch oven. So I'm going to walk over there to the stove. so y'all be careful. And this is with the lid on. So what I'm going to do is steam. I don't know if steam's going to come out or not. So. Alright, so we're good. Just set that over there on the counter, out the way. So, that piece of parchment paper right here, just going to lay it right on top of my pot like that. My bread is here. I know what I'm going to do is plop it down on there. So I'm going to turn it around this way. And I might have to use, I have a drawer right here with a scraper in it. And you can actually see all that. I don't know if you can tell, but it's an active dough. So, and y'all be careful with this. It's hot, very hot. Down in there. Y'all don't know I'm scraping with my right hand. Let me switch hands. Alright. That's fine. Very, very. So, I'll turn y'all around and show you what that looks like down in there. All I did was throw it over in there. So let me pause you and turn you around. Alright, I just plopped it down in there on top of the parchment paper, and actually I have a little bit of flour right here. So what I'm going to do is just take a little pinch of flour and do it over the top like this right here. Just give it, there we go. It shouldn't stick, but that little bit of flour on there, make sure. I don't know how much it's going to rise if it touches the side or something. So that's good. I'm going to take my lid to my Dutch oven, put it back on top, and this is going to go into our oven. It's going to bake with the lid on for 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, I'm going to come back and tell you what to do. Alright, timer's off. So it looks like after 10 minutes. And I'm just going to stick it right back in the oven. See what it looks like after that. Alright, it's been 30 minutes. This is what our bread looks like. And it looks so good. I love it when it pops back up like that. I'm going to stick it back in there. This is really up to you. Just for a few more minutes to crispy up that top just a little bit more. So I'm going to set it for 10 more minutes. I don't think it's going to take that long. But I'll show you what it looks like after 5 minutes. And we'll use our better judgment from there. Alright, it's been 5 minutes. Let's take a look at it. Looks good. Alright, I'll show you what it looks like. You take the parchment paper. I'm so satisfied with the way it looks. It looks good. I can't wait to try some. I'm waiting for it to cool off and then I'll slice it. So, I'm happy with the way it turned out. So, this is our homemade bread using our leftover whey from our goat milk yogurt. So, I can't wait to try some. I hope y'all enjoy. Okay, one more thing. I want to tell y'all this smells so good. Like, it smells so good, and I cannot wait to taste the beef. They're playing with the dog, so there's some cut piece. And just like eating bread, it's gonna be. That's what what you want to hear. I was a little worried, but I was like, trust the process. It's going to be fine. And it was. Okay. That's what the inside looks like. I'm still steaming. That's good. And here's the slice that I cut. And it is still hot, but I want to try a piece and show y'all. That's really good. It ain't too sour. I was afraid it was going to be too sour using the sour whey, but it's not. It is delicious. And the flour, I think, sprinkling a little bit of flour just makes it pretty. So, it's good. Again, y'all enjoy it. I'm fixing to finish. So, y'all enjoy.